Hi everyone, Stepan here. Let's go d4. I have the white pieces. This is game 38. I need to not lose. That's the first thing. So in yesterday's game, you could have seen my announcement about the prolongation of the series. It's gonna take a year longer, and hopefully, I start playing better. The Budapest Gambit. I'm not a big fan of this opening for either side. I usually don't play bishop f4, holding on to the pawn. I play knight f3, letting go of the pawn. And on bishop c5, I play e3. And on knight c6, I usually go knight c3. This is one of the lines. It's not the most critical line, but it also avoids most of the complication. Black will want to get in a5 and rook a6 if they can. Now they take on e5 normally. So we will see what happens. I have to start playing quickly in relatively known positions or easily understandable positions. In the last 6 games, my last 6 losses, I've had good positions in 3 games. You could say easily convertible positions as well. And I messed them up, not only because I was in time trouble, but pretty much because I was in time trouble. Like in yesterday's game. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's focus on this. So I'm assuming knight e4 is played. Knight e5. I don't know what else. I don't know what my opponent's thinking about. Queen e7 could be playable. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like it makes a great deal of difference. I don't know what else. The Budapest is all about attacking and yeah, okay, so now let's take. And normally I play a3, which is considered to be inaccurate because black plays a5, which is what I want to do anyway. So I'm gonna go b3, which is playable. But I may have to be careful about b3, bishop b4, bishop b2, queen f6, queen c2. It seems okay, although I will play bishop e2 first. So I'll go b3 later. I want to fianchetto this bishop, obviously, because it doesn't really have a good place to go to. I don't want to play bishop d3 either. So now b3, bishop b4, bishop b2, queen f6, queen c2. Is there any trouble? Queen g6, castles d6, threatens bishop h3, but I have, well, I don't have bishop f3. I could always throw in knight e4. Okay, I'm playing b3 for now. I don't think I'm in trouble. Bishop b4, bishop b2, queen f6. Queen c2, seems okay. On queen f6 I can also go queen d4, okay. Bishop b2. I'm happy to see d6 before a5 because now rook a6, rook somewhere isn't an option. So this is going to be a less aggressive game than what you normally get in the Budapest. And as a defensive resource after castles, I always have knight e4, knight g3. If I castle first, because obviously I want to avoid bishop b4 being check. I think this is roughly equal. I don't really know the evaluations in the Budapest, but it seems equal. Okay, this prevents knight e4. So if I go castles and my opponent goes queen g5, I can still go, well, I cannot go f4 because of bishop e3. But I could consider knight d5, and if bishop h3, I have knight f4. so I will castle. If queen h4, threatening knight g4. I'm not sure, but I'm playing quickly, and I like that. I'm not getting into time trouble because of decisions that seem easy to make. Excuse me. The queen is coming to the king side now. The only question is where. g5, h4, f6. f6 seems unreasonable because of knight d5. Also on queen g5 there seems to be knight d5. Well, actually there seems to be knight d5 whatever my opponent does, because knight d5 threatens f4 on queen g5 and knight c7 and knight e7, picking up the bishop if the queen leaves g5. This is probably a good idea. So should I just win the dark squared bishop? I'm kind of tired of having that bishop looking at e3. So if I go knight a4, bishop b4, there is a3. Knight a4, how else can my opponent try to save the bishop? Knight a4, queen g5, there is knight c5 and f4. I like knight a4. Knight a4, rook e6, knight c5. I can exchange queens. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna do that. I don't think there's any attack coming here, especially if we trade queens. And especially on queen g5, now I can just take and go f4, winning a piece, because there is no bishop e3. And after the trade of bishops, I may also have queen d4. Yeah, so let's take that. I want to get rid of that bishop. And now if I go queen d4, how does my opponent prevent f4? Queen d4, they could go f6, they could go queen f6. First of all, I'm not sure I want to go f4, but let's just have a look at it. So queen d4, queen g5 doesn't work, queen h4 doesn't work, queen f6, I can go f4. I mean, bishop e5, however silly that may seem, rook e5, bishop f3 also seems nice. But I think I prefer queen d4. Queen d4, I don't think my opponent can go c5. And I want to go rook fd1 and f4. So let's see. I mean, this seems like a great position to me. I have the bishop pair. I have this excellent battery, which is what I normally get in the Budapest. And this setup I play with b3, bishop b2. I have 13 minutes on the clock. I'm not down on the clock. So let's convert this position, finally. Come on. I'm not saying I'm winning, I'm saying I would always take white here. And it's not at all clear how black should defend against f4. Wait a minute. So if I go f4, my opponent plays what? f4, c5, queen c3. What does my opponent play on f4? Rook g6? Well, I can just take on e5. f4. I don't see a defense. f4. f4. What does my opponent do? c5, queen c3. The knight still has to move. f4. Is there a defense? I'm gonna be honest and say that I don't see a defense, so... Wait, knight g6 doesn't defend, knight g4, knight f3, or maybe knight f3, but I just take. Yeah, I'm playing f4. I don't see it. I mean, I created a threat and my opponent did nothing. So, okay. c5 just delays things because I go queen c3. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here. I exchanged bishops and got my queen to d4, and is this the end of the game? I don't see a defense. My opponent's gonna lose the knight, and I'm gonna either trade queens or play queen somewhere, attacking the rook. I don't know. Also, if I take and my opponent takes with the rook, I have rook takes f5, and on rook f5 there's still queen g7 checkmate. I think this is resigns. Okay, this doesn't change anything. It just weakens black's position even further, making bishop f3 much better, because b7 is a fixed target. And d5 is now a hole that can never be patched up. I still don't see it. It's still over. It's over. Once I take the knight on rook takes, I have rook takes f5, winning a full bishop because the rook cannot move. And if pawn takes, I still take the bishop. So my opponent should probably play bishop g6 or bishop e4, let's say. Okay, a very simple, it's not even a tactic, it's just queen and bishop on the diagonal and my opponent didn't defend. Maybe they can try rook g6, but that doesn't work. I don't even know how to come up with counterplay. When you're losing, you should complicate things, but I don't see how. Knight f3 makes little sense, because on knight f3, bishop f3, rook g6, I don't know, I can go e4 and win even more material, because on bishop g4, I have f5. Okay, no, there's rook g5, but then maybe I have g4. Sorry, h4. So I don't think knight f3 works. Okay, rook h6. So let's say I take. If my opponent plays queen h4, on rook f5, is there a checkmate? My opponent wants to go queen h4 once I take the knight. So, let's calculate the critical line. F takes e5, queen h4, rook takes f5, queen h2 check, king f2. The only check I can see is queen h4. And then I cannot escape the perpetual, I'm afraid, because if king g1, there is queen h1 or queen h2. So I can take the knight, but I cannot take the bishop. However, I don't have to take the knight now. And if I go fe5, queen h4, h3, then on bishop h3, I could take on d6, but there is rook g6. I also have the f4 square for my rook. So fe5, queen h4. I could go rook f4, and on queen h2 check, king f2. And I don't see any more checks. If rook g6, I can go rook g1. Okay, I'm taking the knight, and I'm thinking I'm gonna go rook f4 on queen h4. I can also go Oh, not queen h4? So now I have rook f4. I mean, I also have bishop f3. But I like rook f4. Rook f4 preventing queen h4, preventing rook g6, forcing the bishop away. I like that. I'm just going to play that. If bishop g2, okay, we have to look at bishop g2. Don't miss candidate moves. Rook f4, bishop g2, king g2. Rook g6, king h1. Seems okay. Queen g5, king g1, king h1. So rook f4, bishop g2, king g2, queen g5. King h1, queen h4. Oh, queen g5, I can also just go rook g4. Yeah, okay, rook f4 works. I don't think there's any counterplay now. I have rook g4 because the queen defends e3. And that's going to be fine. I think my opponent should have played queen h4. That was much scarier. Because I couldn't take the bishop, I think. There was a perpetual. Okay. So if I go rook a f1, that seems okay. I'm just on the f7 pawn. Should I play bishop f3 or something defensive? Even rook g4 seems interesting. Rook g4, is there any counterplay? Is rook g4 just winning? Rook g4, rook g6, takes, takes on d6, f6, rook d1. Okay, I like rook g4. I cannot see any counterplay after rook g4. Because rook g4 just prepares to take on d6. And if my opponent takes on d6, I can take with the queen. This prevents rook g6. There is no queen f6, there is no queen h4, there is no queen d7, because on queen d7 I play e6. There's no bishop d7 because I play e6. I don't see it. I don't see any more tricks. My opponent should have played queen h4 instead of bishop e4. On f5, I have ed or e6 or e takes f because the g pawn is pinned. So yeah, I don't see. I think this is it. I don't see anything now for black. Okay, So now I'm just gonna take this. So what's wrong with my mouse? Come on. And then when I take on d6, my opponent has to play f6 probably. My opponent's only source of counterplay is queen g5. Only source of counterplay. But if I take on d6, my opponent will have to play f6, preventing queen g5. Is that correct? That seems correct. Okay, yeah, I'm taking. f6 seems forced. Yeah, now there is no queen g5. Now I want to play rook d1 to save my d-pawn, and then I'm trying to exchange the bishops. So let's just save the pawn. I don't think there's any cause for concern. On g2 I can always play bishop f1. Okay, so my opponent wants to go rook e1. I want to go queen e1, queen g3. Queen e1, rook e1, queen g3. Rook e5 has been prevented by the bishop, and I'll be threatening queen takes g6. So queen e1, how do I get my queen to the other side of my pawn? Other than queen e1. I like queen e1. And that's what I'm gonna play. I wanna do this and this and this. I wanna trade the bishops. This is my opponent's only good piece. Oh, I just hung my a-pawn. Why did I hang my a-pawn? I didn't even see that. I'm gonna have to go rook d2. I shouldn't have hung my d-pawn. a-pawn. Why? Why did I do that? Okay, never mind. Yeah. I should not have done that. Okay, so let's go rook d2, defending my bishop. I didn't see that my a-pawn was hanging. Okay, I'm still up a bishop. Doesn't really matter. Let's continue with the plan. Exchanging light squared bishops and threatening to take on g6. So now bishop d3. Bishop d3. I don't see a square for my opponent's queen, so I'll just do that. I'm also covering b1. Okay, bishops exchanged. That's good. However, once I take on e4 and my opponent goes queen e4 and I go queen e1, my opponent will be threatening to play queen b1 check. So yeah, I have to go queen e1. I have to go queen e1. But that's fine. Now the bishops have been traded off and I can just push my pawn. Let's make some Luft. I want to go h3. Yeah, I'm going h3. I want to make sure that there are no back rank checks. My opponent can win this pawn, I don't care. They're gonna have to trade rooks in order to do it. Now queen b1 check isn't scary anymore. Because I have king h2. Why do I have 3 minutes on the clock? That makes no sense. Okay, let's defend the pawn. I'm also looking at g6. And let's offer a queen trade with queen f3, queen d5. Let's make sure it's winning first. So queen f3, rook d6, queen d6, queen d5, queen d5, c d5. Yeah, it is winning. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Prudent. Let's defend this pawn. No, let's defend this one first. My opponent avoided the queen trade, so I'm gonna play king f2 next, and then maybe play for queen g4. There's no need to rush. My opponent cannot win the pawn easily. f5 loses the g pawn and the f pawn because we trade. threatening queen b1. Is that scary? I don't think that's scary. Is that scary? Nah. Let's go king h2 to avoid this being check. Queen b1, d7 works. Because on queen b1 there's no way to target my rook, so that's fine. Why am I still trying to win a game where I'm a piece up? Oh, I also could have played rook f2 now, followed by queen takes g5. Oh yeah, I had that. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna defend. No, that makes no sense. Come on, find the plan, you have to win. If I go queen g4 now, then on queen e3, okay, I don't know what to do. So I'll just play rook d5 so that my rook is defended. I want to go d7 if I can. I cannot move my queen away from the dark square diagonal to make sure I don't allow any checks. And my plan is to transfer the bishop to c1. I'm also preventing c4. Perhaps I should have gone for a queen trade earlier, because I have d7 followed by queen b8 check, and on king f7 I can take. So d7 is probably winning, but I want to see what my opponent does. Okay. So now let's transfer my bishop somewhere more useful, like g3. If my bishop can defend my d-pawn, then that's gonna be great. Okay, so my opponent wants to trade the pawns. I don't really mind that. So queen takes, queen e3, queen g3. That seems good to me. Yeah, that seems good. I want to transfer the bishop to f4. So that I can move my queen away. And more importantly, so that I'm covering the diagonal. Can I now take on c5? Takes. Rook takes d6. Rook c7. Yeah, I definitely can. Yeah. Rook c5, rook d6, rook c7. Definitely works. Okay. So takes. My bishop is attacked. How do I defend it? I want my bishop on g3. That's my only goal, because my bishop will be covering all the checks and there will be no tricks. So I want to go something like queen f4, bishop e1, bishop g3. Okay, so let's go bishop here. And then queen b3, bishop g3. And if my opponent attacks the pawn, now I can play queen d6, yes, and bishop g3. Okay, good. My setup is ready. Should I give up my c pawn for the b pawn? Oh, can I just play c6? c6, queen e1. c6, queen e1. cb7. Queen e5 check, queen g3. Oh, I think I can do that. c6, queen e1, cb7, queen e5, queen g3, and then queening. c6, queen e1, c6, queen e1, cb7, queen e5, queen g3. Yes, it works. And if the pawn isn't taken, I have bishop b4. Oh, but my opponent has queen d6. Stupid. Yeah, there's queen d6. Okay. Luckily he didn't do that. Yeah, queen e5 just doesn't work because I play queen g3. He should have gone queen d6, winning the pawn, and then I would have had some work to do. Okay, finally a win. Oh my god, I was a piece up for so long. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Yes. Okay. Oof. Finally, after 6 losses. My opponent's still playing on, which, okay. Yeah, let's not stalemate. I still have to be careful. This isn't stalemate, this is fine. This isn't stalemate, this is fine. Okay. Good. If you're looking for a more effective way to learn openings, try out Chessbook. It's a great tool for studying openings. It's very easy to use. It focuses on moves that people actually play. It explains the plans in certain positions, and it's going to highlight the mistakes you made in your games. So once you connect your Lichess and chess.com accounts, it's going to focus on the mistakes you actually make. So you're going to be able to work on what matters most. You can import your repertoire either by hand or by, you know, importing a PGN. So that's easy. Let's say save my progress. And you can then practice those moves. So if you go to, let's say, your black repertoire, you can see that mine is 89% complete. You can press import and you can use any of the PGNs I've prepared. You can find a bunch of them in the link description, in the description below. So import the repertoire and then you can start practicing it. So for example, if we go d4, d5, you can also have a bunch of pre-made repertoires from this position, and some of them are mine. I have created a Queen's Gambit declined opening repertoire for black, so you can start with that. I have created an e4, e5 full repertoire for black, and I have created the London system repertoire for white, and you can access them through Chessbook easily. So once again, once you connect your Lichess and chess.com accounts, you're going to be able to correct your opening mistakes. So for example, in this case, I play h6 in the tile, and let's see what mistake I'd made. So in this position, you played e6, play the correct move on the board. Wait, what's the move? I think I should go bishop e4. No? And here, this is a good example. I don't know. I don't know. Show me the answer. Queen e6 check. Yes. Okay. Damn. So you see what I'm talking about. I made the mistake in the game, and then once again, when I was reviewing it on Chessbook, I didn't know what to do. You can also practice all the moves in your repertoire, which is obviously one of the most useful things you can do. You can play through model games in your openings. You're going to get served games daily, and you can view performance by opening, which will be there once you complete your repertoire. Check out Chessbook by following the link in the description below. It's only $8 a month, even less if you pay yearly, and I hope you like it. Good. Finally. Okay, let's analyze. Thank you for clarifying why the engine is on when we turn on the analysis. So apparently when anybody who's losing the game turns on the engine, I see the evaluation too, and apparently you said the only solution is to turn on Zen mode. Let's see. Wow, a bit of wow. There are 200 comments here. Wow. Okay. Wow, there were 50 people watching the game. What? Okay, let's analyze the game. So, let's see. Bishop e2, castles. The castles before b3, but this is fine, I think. No? Wait. So, b3 is definitely playable. But on castles, d6. You play b3 now, so why isn't this a transposition? I always play b3. Oh, I should have played e4 while I had the chance. But it seemed nice to win this bishop. Queen d4. Yeah, okay. Excuse me. My cold still isn't gone. Takes. Yeah, I was afraid of queen h4. Wait, bishop e4 is better? I was afraid of queen h4. Why could I take this bishop? I didn't think this was possible. So check here. Check. Oh, g3. Okay, I could have gone g3. I didn't see that. Yeah, I didn't even consider g3. Okay. Bishop e4. Rook f4 is good. Okay, rook g4 is fine. Takes, takes, takes. +5. It took me another 30 moves to win this. Okay, I hung my a2 pawn, but e4. Interesting. e4 is interesting. Okay, and then I did nothing for a long time. Then I'm guessing I had d7 here. So here, d7 takes. No, okay, I didn't have d7. King h2. Rook d5 was good. Transferring my bishop was good. Oh yeah, I should have transferred it with tempo. I should have played bishop d2 when the queen was on e3. Takes, takes, takes. Here, here, here. Yeah, my opponent had queen d6. My opponent had queen d6. I should have gone bishop g3 first, just trading pawns. Yeah, now I can just take on b7. And this I calculated correctly. Okay, yes, finally. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more chess. Bye-bye.